What's good, my people? It's your boy 336, and you are now tuned in to the 336 podcast. I'm here today to tell you that I am ahead, not up to date. Yes, that means I am from the future. Your today is just my yesterday. Spoiler alert, ain't shit changed. What's good, my people? Again, you are now tuned in to the 336 podcast, which currently airs on Sundays. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our other segments throughout the week. We have a very interesting segment coming tomorrow. I cannot wait for you guys to see it. So make sure you subscribe, like the video, comment as well what you guys are thinking about what's going on in our world and in our country, man. Let's get into it. Tennessee Republican lawmakers, they passed legislation Monday to make camping on public property a crime. And if you don't know what that means, it means that the people that are homeless currently in Tennessee, they are now at risk if they are camping or sleeping on this public property. They're at risk for criminal prosecution. HB 978, if a person camps on the shoulder, the right-of-way, the bridge, the overpass, or underpass of a state or interstate highway, they could face a misdemeanor offense, a $50 fine, or community service requirements can also be enforced. So this is essentially criminalizing public camping. I won't say criminalizing homelessness because I believe that you know, if you're homeless, you're homeless. That's just a reality in our country. But it's criminalizing the public infiltration of the homelessness epidemic. The bill also makes that it is a felony to camp on all public property unless otherwise specified. The current law that exists makes it a felony to camp on state property. So this is now going to state and public property. So they're basically trying to get rid of the public image of homelessness in Tennessee. And that bill is being pushed up. Lawmakers have passed it. It was grossly outnumbered in favor for. Now the governor has to sign off on it. But a lot of religious leaders in that state, they are urging them to please veto this bill because they feel like this is criminalizing homelessness and that our approach to homelessness and attacking that should be a lot more compassionate. And you guys can comment and tell me what you think, but the bill has its pros and cons. Again, we should definitely and we don't know, but I would have loved to hear another story about Tennessee lawmakers attacking homelessness differently, but then again, we don't know what's going on. And then again, we do not know, I've done some things in regards to homelessness. There's something very near and dear to my heart. I've slept outside overnight on multiple occasions. I know what that experience is like. I know what that feels like. I would love, and we're gonna have some segments with homelessness, and we're gonna have some segments with some homeless people up here. So I would love, and I can't wait to get a little bit more perspective from different people and to see what they've gone through, what they've experienced, because I feel like there are two sides to everything. We have good homeless people, and then we have bad homeless people. We have people that are really trying to rehabilitate and get back on their feet and become productive citizens. And then we have those who are comfortable living that low maintenance lifestyle and just want to continue to do that. And they're not necessarily doing the things with the money that they're receiving that they should be. So I feel like, this law is kind of attacks all homelessness, but it's going to remove those individuals who are in these public property, on the bridges and everything. The city, you want your city to look good and presentable. When someone gets off a bridge, the first thing you don't want to see is a bunch of homeless people camped out. Some people look at that negatively. Let's look at the reality of it. We are the minority, and a lot of us minorities, we don't care because we're so accustomed to seeing it. But the other people who are not accustomed to seeing that type of lifestyle and that type of tradition in the streets, they would look at it with disgust and detest. So I think that's where the negativity comes in on that end. And that's where this bill comes in to kind of fight that image of homelessness. But it's still not doing anything to solve and cure homelessness. I do feel like it could potentially push for some self-accountability. And maybe, now that you can't just sleep everywhere and you really have to kind of go out and far into the woods or even in some of these less indigenous areas in the state and in different cities that, This is going to push people to really rehabilitate, to take advantage of the homeless resources. A lot of people don't want those curfews that are oftentimes involved with homeless shelters. This is going to push them to make a decision. Are you going to be pushed further and further out of the city limits? Are you going to just succumb, get involved in these programs, rehabilitate, and get back out into the productive workforce? That's what's happening in Tennessee right now. Be on the lookout for that. Again, people could still veto it. The governor can. People are fighting for that. However, it's already passed lawmakers and legislation on Monday. An after-school Satan club is now threatening to come to North Carolina, and actually in my own backyard in Greensboro. If you guys don't know, the 336 podcast is located in Greensboro, North Carolina. Hence the name, the 336 podcast. And it's actually going to a school my little sister went to called Joyner. Only 3 schools in the nation currently host this after-school Satan club. Illinois and Ohio, they have those schools currently. Its purpose is to involve a safe, all-inclusive, religious alternative program, basically. So they say that they don't actually believe in Satan, but they see him as a symbol to stand up to tyranny, to bring forward hypocrisy in our laws and ask questions. So yes, this is an after-school Satan club. It sounds crazy, right? But it's actually, again, something that's happening in 3 schools in Ohio and Illinois already. And now it's threatening to come to my town, my city, where I grew up, in Greensboro, North Carolina. And my little sister, she actually went to this school. And let me emphasize, this is an elementary school. The Satan club is said to not be a religious group, but just an alternative to provide equal opportunity. They won't go anywhere where they're not wanted. Apparently, I don't know what that really means, but they also only go to schools which already have other religious after-school programs already implemented there. So this is weird. I don't really like it because these are elementary kids, very impressionable, very interested in what's new, what's crazy, what's bad, what's negative. And this is a time for people to come into our schools and teach our kids. What they say is that they don't believe in Satan, but they see him as a symbol, which is a complete contradiction. So there we have our first red flag. But this is a time for people to come in our schools and to kind of teach our kids about things that may legitimately be going on in this country. We do have tyrannies. We do have hypocrisy. There are questions that need to be asked, but we have people who are simply going to quote unquote fight against and stand up to. And it just seems like we're using this method and this tool as a sort of rebellious type of act. And, we all want to just talk about, our religion or no religion. Oh, yeah, well, they should be able to have that. What about freedom of speech? But there does come a point where these things start to take a personal turn. We're establishing this thing called a Satan Club. It's not established. It's not an establishment. We're trying to establish a program with our own personal hidden agendas, our own personal core values, and we're trying to implement that onto these little kids who don't make decisions for themselves. They're not old enough or conscious enough to make a lot of important decisions. And what you choose to put your faith in this world, I feel like, is one of those things. Now, if you're a parent and you're brought up in that, of course, your kids go where you go. They do what you do. They see and they do as they see people do. That's just a product of life. That's how it happens. You're a product of your environment, whether you like to believe so or not. But when we specifically go into target the youngest possible demographic, it's almost like they would go in daycares, although most daycares are just privately owned. These schools, these are public systems, basically. But they would go in daycares, but as soon as they have the eligibility to infiltrate the youngest possible demographic that America and the world has to offer, that is where they go. That is what they target. I don't like it because we are teaching kids a rebellious. We don't really know what these people are teaching. They're already contradictive in their methods and what they seem to classify themselves as. And I don't like the fact that we're calling it a Satan club. Maybe you can call it, a political education committee or something like that. If you really want to fight tyranny and talk about hypocrisy and laws, and you want to talk about systematic racism, and you want to talk about systematic privilege, if you want to talk about those things and you really want to attack that, that's cool. But when you call it the Satan Club and you say we just want an alternative to other religious groups, then we have the division. That's where the division and the spread comes. And we have it on these impressionable kids who are gonna, they're gonna be interested in it. And, you have these people spending time with their kids, and it's not that their fault that, a lot of time these parents aren't spending the same amount of time trying to implement these type of, core beliefs and standards in their own children. It's not their fault that that's happening, but you have these people who these kids will look up to. They will believe, they will challenge their parents, they will challenge their already pre-existing religious beliefs before they're old enough to really understand what that decision is and what it means. And I don't like it, and I don't think we should allow it. And actually, the Guilford County Committee of School and, the Public Education Committee here, they are trying to take every precaution as to this, due to freedom of speech. These guys, they are allowed to have this. However, they are currently trying to find some way in law where they can prevent them from coming into the public school system due to, do they have these rights and privileges? Can we grant this type of access to public locations for this type of thing? Because again, we don't agree with it. Now, I don't know why they chose Greensboro. I don't know why they chose North Carolina. I don't know why they chose Joyner Elementary. So we just don't know if this is a supremacist group trying to implement these type of beliefs and these ideologies into these kids. I think that this is dangerous. I think this is very dangerous. And I'm going to continue to follow this story, and I won't spend any more time on it because I'm in Greensboro. So we are going to go after these people, and we're going to have them on the podcast. We're going to hold them accountable. If you guys have any information, because I have a strong Greensboro, North Carolina base for the podcast, we need to figure out where these people are at, who are trying to implement in the Satan Afterschool Club. We want you guys to come on the podcast. We want to get more information about what you're trying to do, and I want our political figures to reach out to me to figure out what are we going to do to protect the best interest of our elementary students. All right, so let's talk about school again, but on a higher level, a level where people actually make conscious decisions, and this graduate made a conscious decision. It is prom season, and for a senior, this is one of the best times. You get to put the drip on, and fashion is just so great in our world now, and it's such a big part of our world that having fashion involved now with prom is like a big deal. So you have these guys with fashion, and this girl, she makes a fashion statement by posing in her prom dress with a couple of guns, some very big guns, some very nice guns. If you're into guns, it's like, wow, we know guns are, one of those things that divides our country. Should we have the right to bear arms? We have restrictions. Should those restrictions be further restricted or more restricted than ever? We shouldn't allow people to have weapons. We get into that every year. It's a big thing in politics. But this student, she posted a picture with this gun in her prom dress, and this went viral. Why it went viral, I don't know. I got a feeling it has a lot to do with the fact that she's black, and the young guy that she posted with was black. And, had some wigs, had hair. They're going to try to demonize us black folks every time we give them a chance to, I feel like. And we did that. And this actually went so viral that the school actually got a hold to it, and they expelled her from her high school. She will not be able to graduate and walk the stage. I'm not sure what this means for her diploma. She was a straight A student also, and she had a full ride to TSU, an academic scholarship, which now TSU allegedly is rescinding. Again, this part is alleged. They're saying they kicked her out of school and she's lost her scholarship. Guys, I really can't confirm this. I've tried to search, but people are really abusing this situation. We have someone claiming to be her fake aunt. We have people blocking out her Instagram name, which maybe that could be in her best interest. But at the same time, if they did kick her out of school, she needs to be able to catapult with that following that this type of issue would drive to her. She needs to be able to monetize that at least. I can't find this young lady. If you know who this young lady is, send us her information. We would love to talk with her on a podcast about why she did this and if these type of allegations that are being promoted about her being expelled, not being able to graduate and losing her scholarship is actually true. We want to talk about that with her, but this still did strike a big conversation amongst social media as to why she did this and was she right for doing this, and did the school system and the college go too far? That's what I want to focus on, the pretty much if it were true story of her doing this and the reaction that people had to it. Let's just rewind and slow it up, guys. She posted with these guns, not on school property, not at the event. I'm not sure if the prom was off campus, but in her own neighborhood, it appears to be. These guns were not with any other students unless that other male she posted with was a student, but it wasn't directed or targeted at a student. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't like, hey, about to go shoot up prom. It wasn't any of that. This was just simply a young woman just making what she felt like was a fashion statement at that time. And she wanted to post with her guns. Now, we don't know if she really loves guns, if that's something she's really into. We don't know what she was going to school for. We don't know any of that. But what we do is we judge her because she's a young black woman, and now the penalty have come. I think that if she was just posting a picture with guns, people wouldn't care. But now that they promote this story about her losing these academic privileges, now we want to judge her and we want to jump on her back and we want to say all of these negative things. Let's not go there. Especially because I'm seeing a lot of this come from the black community. And we'll talk about the hypocrisy of the white community jumping in because that's all that they've done. That's all they do is post pictures with guns on prom, blackface, Confederate flags. You just type in prom pictures with guns, it's going to be white people. So we don't want to even hear their opinions in this matter. But we'll talk about the black community and how we've harped on this girl. Like, let's not act like we don't glorify weapons. Let's not act like weapons are a necessity to life and to protecting ourselves. Let's not act like these weapons that she have are the same weapons that police are using to kill black men all over the country every single day. Let's not do that. So I'd rather her have that weapon. I'd rather that young man have that weapon, whether or not they use it to protect themselves against police or other people who would see harm done against them, or they use it to prey on other people. I don't care because we don't know that. And that's not what this picture says. This picture says, hey, I got the gun and I'm posing. I'm going to use this caption, maybe potentially from a song. This is just what I want to do. I like guns. We have guns. Hey, I'm protecting myself. I'm showing people I'm not playing. I'm here. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm minding my business in my own neighborhood where these guns have been at my house for way longer than you guys have known, way before this picture. But now all of a sudden, because I'm posing with it, now I have to get expelled from school. I don't know if these things that are being done are able to be done. That's why I really don't believe it, because I don't think that the school has the ability to take something that happened off campus. You know, she wasn't charged with anything. It's not illegal to have weapons there where she's at, and she didn't break any laws. She didn't get the police involved or any of those things. And to try to penalize her and take the law into your own hands, I think was very, very premature if this is what happened. And for the communities of black people to attack this girl who was a straight A student and had a full ride scholarship and just lost her chance potentially at a future for whatever she wanted to do, for us to attack her instead of support her and say that this is wrong, this shouldn't be done, this is not in the jurisdiction of those schools. Okay, I don't like the picture, I don't like guns. All right, cool. But, you know, your preference is irrelevant in what's right and what's wrong, and what kind of power people have and how they exercise and abuse that power on young black students, man. We have enough issues with black students not going to college, let alone a straight A student with a full ride who is ready and willing and just looking forward to going to TSU next summer, this upcoming summer. You know, somebody who really is trying to get in school system and educate the future of the black community in the productive workforce, and we attack her. Let's not do that. We got to change the narrative. We have to come to her aid. We have to come to her support, and we have to stand up for what's right. It's not right to try to penalize this girl for something she did out of school and off of school property, and that's that. That's that. You know, if we can find her and get in contact with her, we'll love to talk with her at length a little bit more about this situation. We have a lot of people to try to follow up with from this podcast, guys. That's all we have time for today. Again, it's your boy 336 Money. You are now tuned in to the 336 podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment your positive thoughts about these situations that we've talked with today. Again, y'all stay safe, but most of all, stay sucker free out there. Zzz.